Hello students, welcome to Pathak's Computer Academy online classes. In the previous video, we learned about Introduction to Computer and Computing. Today we will see computer memory. Okay? So, in this, we covered the following contents. First of all, we read the introduction. Then, we know about the classification of memory. After that, what are the basic units of memory? We will see. And then types of memory. Okay. So move on. So what is computer memory? As we know that human beings have a brain and there is a part known as memory. So that we can learn various things and whenever it is needed, we can fetch from that memory and either with the help of written or with the help of speaking, we can fetch out that data. The same thing happened with the computer. As we know that computer has a brain known as CPU, but to keep the data either for processing or to store permanently, we need an area known as memory. And that device is known as computer memory. Okay. So, computer memory is the storage space where data is to be processed and instruction required for processing are stored. Clear? These memory is divided into a very large number of small parts known as cells. And each location or cell have a unique address from where we can find out the data. As everybody have a home address, so that address is the location of a particular person. Clear? The same thing happened with the memory. They have memory address from where we can find out our data. So, what are the major classification? Major classification can be divided into three parts: semiconductor memory, magnetic memory, and optical memory. Semiconductor memory is that which is built by using transistor and integrated circuit ICs. It is faster and have smaller storage capacity. Thus, it consumes less power. It is basically used in main memory, such as RAM, ROM, or cache memory. Okay. Now, the next one is magnetic memory. As the name suggests, magnetized dots are used for storing our data. It is slower than the semiconductor memory. And this memory is used for secondary storage, such as hard disk, tape drive, etc. Why? Because for a smaller cost, we can purchase a large amount of memory. Clear? And at last, there is some another mechanism known as optical memory. It uses a light property to read or write operation. Clear? Such as CD, DVD, Blu-ray disc, etc. So I think it is very clear to you. What are the main classification? First memory is related to register and ICs known as semiconductor memory and used as primary memory. Another one is for magnetic memory, which is used for secondary memory that uses magnetized dots for storing or retrieval of the data. And the last one is used through infrared lights for reading or writing the operation, such as CD, DVD, or Blu-ray disc. Now, what are the basic units of memory? Whenever you are going to purchase a pen drive, you generally ask, please give me 16 GB of pen drive, 14 GB of pen drive. So what is GB? GB is a unit of memory. How much amount of data can kept in that 16 GB of memory or pen drive? So the basic unit is known as byte. Okay, either 0 or 1 bit of information. Okay, so that are known as 1 bit. Clear? And combination of 4 bits, combination of 4 bits is known as nibble. 1 nibble. But for an ASCII characterization, we need to represent one character, we need 8 bit of data. And thus, 1 byte is equivalent to 8 bit. This is the basic knowledge. So, if we combine these 1 byte up to 1024 byte, then it is equivalent to 1 kilobyte. You can see that, you can easily refer that there is 24 KB of data transfer is going on. So what is KB? KB is kilobyte. Again, 1024 KB is of 1 megabyte. MB is megabyte. And then 1024 MB is equivalent to 1 GB, gigabyte. 1024 GB is equivalent to 1 terabyte. 1024 terabyte is equivalent to 1 petabyte. 1024 petabyte is equivalent to 1 exabyte. Next one is 1024 exabyte is equivalent to 1 zettabyte. And at last, 1 yottabyte is equivalent to 1024 zettabyte. This is the measurement units for digital data. Starting with the bit, goes to nibble, then byte, and after that KB, MB, GB, TB, PB, EB, ZB, YB. Okay. So now, the next topic is types of memory. As we already see that there are 3 classification of memory. One is used for primary memory, another one is used for secondary memory. So here you can mainly categorized into 4 types of memory. First one is register, then cache memory, then primary memory, and then secondary memory. Okay. And more or less, type is divided into mainly two, primary and secondary. Okay. Now, what is registers? Registers are a dedicated memory for CPU. It temporarily holds frequently used data that are used by the CPU. So, processing can be fast. Otherwise, every time CPU have to ask that data from the primary memory. So, if frequently used data are kept into the register, which is nearer to the CPU, then processing can be very much faster than the previous one. Okay. So, as we already told you that it is not a part of main memory. It is located itself into the CPU. And these registers are basically the combination of flip flops. Flip flops. Okay. And these flip flops are none other than is the bit representation, 0 or. So here you can see that register can hold 32-bit to 64-bit amount of data. It is a smaller one, but very efficient. So now, there are some types of register. First one is data register. As the name suggests, it is used to store operands, which means variables on which processor can operate. Next one is program counter. It holds the address of the memory location for the next instruction so that accessibility can be fast and operation can be going on without any interruption. Next one is instruction register. As the name suggests again, it stores the instruction which is fetched from the main memory. Next one is accumulator. Accumulator is used to store the result. Next one is address register. As the name suggests again, it stores the address of a memory location where instruction or data is stored in the memory. Next one is IO address. We need input or output devices. Time to time, that's why there are a dedicated register which holds the address of that particular IO devices so that operation can be performed easily. Next one is IO buffer register. It is used to exchange the data between various module and the CPU. Clear? So these are registers which is basically used to fast the processing of the CPU. That's all. Next one is cache memory. Again, cache memory is a high-speed memory which is small in size but faster than main memory. As we know that the speed of CPU is very fast than the primary memory. That is known as RAM, random access memory. Okay. So, it is the part of main memory, but it is dedicated to the CPU, which is directly dealt by the CPU. Clear? That's why I have written over here that it can be a reserved part of the main memory. Okay. Again, it holds the data and program which are frequently used by the CPU. Thus, by acting as a buffer between RAM and CPU, it speeds up the system performance. Okay, so there are various types of cache. First one is L1, next one is L2 and L3. L1 have 4 cores. Okay, then each core will have its own level 1 cache. L2 may be inside of the CPU or outside of the CPU. The memory size of this cache is range from 256 KB to 512 KB. And at last, L3 cache is used, which is located outside of the CPU, but the size of the memory is 8 MB. Clear? So, the main topic is primary memory. As here you can see that I am recording my video, so I need some PPT. That PPT should be loaded into the primary memory before capturing any recording. I need some software like Zoom to record my video. So that Zoom application should be loaded into the primary memory. So what it means? It means whatever the read or write operation is to be executed, that application or data or instruction should be loaded into the primary memory first. After that, CPU will act accordingly. So you can see that primary memory is the working area for the computer's processor. That's all. Okay. But it has a limited capacity and data is lost whenever power is switched off. Whenever you go for purchasing your laptop, you easily see that in comparison to hard disk, you can purchase hard disk of 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, but generally you go for the RAM for 32 GB, 64 GB, or hardly 128 GB. You cannot go further up to terabyte. Why? Because of its limitations, as a cost is very high. Clear? Now, these primary memory is divided into again 2 types, RAM and ROM. RAM is basically a primary memory where all the operations are executed. ROM is the non-volatile memory which is used for specific purpose. Clear? We will see here. So, as the name suggests, random access memory. This memory means CPU can access any memory location randomly. You can store data in random order of the address. Clear? It is used for both purposes, read and write. Whenever the computer is started or a software application is launched, the required program and data are loaded into RAM for processing. It is a volatile memory. Okay. As soon as the system power supply is off, all the data kept in RAM are written off. Clear? So the basic purpose of RAM is whatever you want to execute, either if you want to display an image, if you want to listen a music, or if you want to play a video, or you want to write a document. First of all, that data should be loaded into a memory, and that memory is RAM. Clear? Now, again, RAM is of two types, static RAM and dynamic RAM. As the name suggests, in static, memory retains contents as long as power is being supplied. Okay, there is no need of refreshment on a regular basis. It is basically use a matrix of 6 transistors with no capacitors. Because of the capacitor, we need refreshment. That's why there is no such capacitor. So we don't need to refresh at a regular basis. That's why it is used for CPU cache. Why? Frequently used data are kept in these cache memory, which is used by the CPU. So these are generally static RAM, but it is of a slight amount of memory. Next one is dynamic RAM. As the name suggests, refreshment is continually needed to maintain the data. Why? Because it is made up of transistor as well as capacitor, and capacitor needs refreshment. Okay, but there is an advantage. It is very cheap. So generally it is used for main memory. Now, read-only memory. As the name suggests, ROM is non-volatile, which means its contents are not lost even when the power is turned off. So what is the basic use? Why it is under in the category of primary memory? Because it is used for specific purpose. The main purpose is in ROM, the startup program is loaded. And what startup program does? It loads the operating system from the secondary memory into primary memory. And all that instructions are stored in ROM. So the steps written in the ROM, that steps are read by the computer, and your operating system are loaded into the RAM before your first windows will be displayed. Okay, so it is very much important device. Now, as the types of RAM, ROM is of various types, such as PROM, EPROM, double EPROM. P stands for programmable. What it means? It means whenever you purchase PROM for the first time, user can modify that memory. So where it is used? It is used basically in cell phones. Whenever you purchase a new cell phone, whatever the first thing you can do, or what are the installment or Whatever the settings you have done, all are kept in PROM. Window game consoles, medical devices are used PROM. Next one is EPROM. Here E stands for erasable PROM. So it is an extension of PROM which uses ultraviolet rays for at least 40 minutes to expose the surface of the ROM. It is basically used in microcontrollers to store programs such as Intel 8048 version. Next one is double EPROM. In here, first E represents electrically. So what it means? It means this EPROM are erased electrically, and we can reprogram EEPROM up to 10,000 times. So BIOS, basic input output system, BIOS of a computer is stored in this memory. Double EP. Clear? As we know that what BIOS means, all the information related to input and output devices which are connected to your computer, all that information are kept in BIOS. So whenever you install a new input device or uninstall any output device, all that information are to be kept again and again, or you have to erase the previous information and update the new one. That's why double EPROM is used. So it is very clear to you, whenever we need specifically for cell phone or video game console, we need PROM. Whenever we have to use microcontrollers, then EPROM. And generally, all the computers which have BIOS, so the information on BIOS are stored in EEPROM. Next one is secondary memory. As the name suggests, if you want to store your data or result or any other data permanently, and that can be used later on, then we need another type of memory known as secondary memory, which is in the classification of what? Magnetic memory. Okay, clear? So that we can use that data in the future. Thus, the secondary memory is of non-volatile and has larger capacity than primary memory. It is slower and cheaper than main memory, and because of use of later, it is also known as backup memory. It is not directly accessible by the CPU. It requires primary memory for its operation. So I think it is very clear to you. There are various secondary storage devices like hard disk, SSD, solid state drives, pen drives, SD card, compact disk, and many more. Generally, in all computers, you will see either SSD or hard disk. In recent time, you can see solid state drives. Why? Because it offers various advantages over hard disk. What it is? Faster access time, noiseless operation, less power consumption, and more. Pen drive is used to take some important data with you without carrying your computer. Okay. It is also known as USB flash drive, or you can say that thumb drive or a jump drive. SD card stands for secure digital card. So where it is used? It is generally used in mobile phones or smart digital cameras. Okay, to store photos, videos, etc. And the last one is compact disc. It is a round, shiny disc which is used as a portable secondary storage device. Clear? So, all these secondary devices or primary devices are taken care individually in my videos that I have already created for 9th class student. So you can go through my channel Pathak's Computer Academy in YouTube, and here you can see that there is a video related to computer memory. Then a separate video is recorded for random access memory, then read only memory. After that, next video is related to secondary memory, and then how hard disk drive is actually worked. With the help of diagram, I have described HDD. And other than this, I also discussed what is optical disk, what are the various types of that optical disk, either CD, DVD, or Blu-ray disk. Individually, I have taken the topic and elaborate that one. And I also discussed some other storage devices also. So from here, you can see the whole computer memory in detail. That's why here in this particular video, I have taken all the computer memory and their types in a very short way. Okay, so that's all for today. In the next class, we will start data and information. What is data and what are their types? And then what is information in detail? So till then, thank you so much.